Okay, so you're here with us on the deep dive because, well, you're really serious about getting a good grasp on learning English.
Yeah.
But you want to do it the smart way, right?
Yeah.
Without feeling overwhelmed by all the information out there.
Totally.
So think of this as your shortcut.
Yeah, you're fast track.
We've gone through a ton of material on learning English effectively.
Mm-hmm.
And we're giving you just the insights that really pack a punch.
The need to know stuff.
Exactly. We're talking about everything from really being able to listen to and understand English.
The foundation.
Yeah, to practical things you can do to build up your grammar and vocabulary.
Those building blocks.
And even tackling that, common fear a lot of people have about actually speaking the language.
The hurdle that everyone faces.
The hurdle.
But we jump right over.
Exactly. So we went through all this research.
Mm-hmm.
And we're pulling out the most effective and actionable ideas.
The stuff that will actually make a difference.
The stuff that makes a difference for you.
Right.
So let's dive in.
Let's do it.
And we're going to start with something that might seem simple.
Okay.
But it's really the foundation of everything else.
All right.
Listening.
Yes.
It's more than just the words hitting your ears, right?
Oh, it's so much more.
What's something that people often get wrong about listening?
Well, a lot of learners focus on actively producing the language, speaking, and writing.
Right.
That's natural.
It makes sense.
But the research really points to this strong link between how well you can listen and how well you do overall with the language.
Oh, interesting.
Like, think about it.
Yeah.
When you're exposed to a lot of different audio early on, it actually helps your brain make sense of the vocabulary.
Really?
Almost like it's categorizing and recognizing patterns naturally.
So it's not passive at all.
Not at all.
It's like the first step.
It's what gets everything going.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's like trying to play an instrument without really hearing the music first.
Exactly.
And we saw this a lot in the sources. The idea that you need to just immerse yourself in English.
Yes.
Like really flood your ears with it.
Flood your ears.
Movies, podcasts, audiobooks.
All of it.
To really get used to the rhythm,
The full
different accents,
Yep.
and just how people actually use English in everyday life.
In the wild.
Which is so different from textbooks.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Textbooks are so structured.
Right.
Real life is messy.
It is messy.
But that's where the magic happens.
It is.
That's where you really learn.
And subtitles came up a lot
Oh, yeah. Subtitles are great.
as a really good strategy.
Fantastic
At
strategy.
first, using subtitles in your own language can help you understand what's going on.
Build that bridge.
Yeah, build that bridge.
Between what you know and what you're learning.
Exactly.
And then when you switch to English subtitles,
Ooh,
something really cool happens.
what's that?
You're using your reading skills at the same time,
Right.
which helps you understand what you're hearing better.
Oh, boy.
And it can even improve your pronunciation
Really?
because you're connecting how the words look and how they sound.
So you're hitting all these different skills at once.
Multitasking for language learning. I love it.
The best.
And English isn't just one thing, is it?
Oh, no.
We learned about how important it is to get used to different types of English.
Different flavors.
The different flavors, exactly.
American, British, Australian.
Yeah,
They all have their quirks.
they do.
Their slang, their pronunciations.
Yeah, even common words can sound different.
Absolutely.
So getting comfortable with those variations makes you a better listener.
A more well-rounded listener.
Yeah.
More adaptable.
Adaptable, yeah.
And then there's active listening.
Okay, what's that?
It's not just letting the sounds wash over you.
Right.
It's really engaging with what you're hearing.
Okay.
Like trying to repeat phrases in your head.
Mm-hmm.
Noticing how native speakers emphasize certain words.
Mm-hmm.
And even mimicking their intonation.
It's like you're shadowing the speaker in your mind.
That's so cool.
It's a great way to really internalize the sounds of the language.
Okay, so we've talked about how important it is to really hear the language.
The foundation.
Yes, the foundation.
We built it.
We built it.
Now we can move on to the next level.
Right, so let's talk about something that can feel really scary for a lot of learners.
Ooh, scary.
The fear of speaking.
Ah, yes.
It's totally normal to feel nervous about making mistakes.
It's completely understandable.
It is.
Everyone feels that way at some point.
And the research we looked at really backed that up.
Mm-hmm.
Nervousness is just part of the process.
It's part of the deal.
But here's a different way to think about it.
Okay, I'm listening.
Mistakes aren't actually bad.
Really?
They're actually really important.
How so?
They're like feedback.
Feedback.
Yeah, they tell you what you need to work on.
So they're not roadblocks.
Not at all.
They're more like signposts.
Yeah, signposts pointing you in the right direction.
I like that.
Even native speakers make mistakes all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Like little grammar slips, mispronouncing a word,
Happens to the best of us.
or just blanking out in the middle of a sentence.
Brain farts.
Yeah, brain farts, we all have them.
It's part of being human,
So instead of trying to be perfect,
which is impossible.
which is impossible,
Let's be real.
Yeah.
No one's perfect.
no one,
Especially not when it comes to language.
especially not with language.
It's messy,
It is messy.
but it's beautiful.
It is beautiful.
And it's about connecting with others.
So the real goal is to just communicate effectively.
That's it.
Yeah,
Getting your ideas across.
even if it's not perfect.
Even if it's a little messy.
Exactly.
As long as people understand you.
That's what matters.
That's the point of language.
That's the point.
Communication.
Connection.
Connection.
That's what it's all about.
I love that shift in perspective.
It's liberating.
It is.
It takes the pressure off.
It does. And it allows you to just enjoy the process.
And the advice was to start small, right?
Yes, small steps.
Like just practicing every day,
little by little.
even if it's just talking to yourself in English.
Talk to the mirror.
Yeah.
Narrate your day.
It might feel weird at first,
It might.
but it helps your brain get comfortable with forming sentences.
And with the physical act of speaking,
Yeah.
it gets those muscles working.
It does.
Your tongue, your lips, your vocal cords.
All working together.
It's a workout for your mouth.
And practicing with other people can also help,
Oh, definitely.
like language partners or in small groups.
It takes the pressure off.
It does.
Because you realize everyone's learning.
Everyone's in the same boat.
We're all in this together.
And it's not about being perfect.
Nope.
It's about understanding each other.
And helping each other along the way.
Exactly.
Thanks. A journey.
And recording yourself can be really helpful too.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Even though it might feel awkward at first, but it lets you see what you need to work on.
You become more objective.
Yeah.
You can hear things you might not notice when you're just speaking.
It's like having the coach
Your own personal speech coach.
right in your pocket.
Technology is amazing.
It is amazing.
It's given us so many tools for language learning.
It really has.
It's revolutionized the way we learn.
And it all comes back to that inner voice, doesn't it? That positive self-talk.
Yeah.
Seeing language learning as an adventure.
An adventure with ups and downs.
Not some test you have to pass perfectly.
It's not about grades.
It's about growth.
It's about expanding your horizons.
I love that.
It's about connecting with the world.
Okay, so we're actively listening.
We're building that foundation.
We're starting to speak more confidently.
We're getting over those hurdles.
Now let's talk about something that can really help you get comfortable speaking.
Okay, what's that?
Real-life conversations.
Yes.
It's one thing to do grammar exercises.
Those are important.
They are important.
But they're not the whole picture.
Right.
Real conversations are where the rubber meets the road.
Exactly.
It's where you put everything you've learned into practice.
And the sources really highlighted how valuable they are because they force you to think on your feet.
Yeah.
Unlike a scripted dialogue,
Where everything is planned out.
you can't predict what someone's going to say.
It's unpredictable.
So you have to listen,
Really listen.
process the information,
Make sense of it.
and then come up with a response.
All in real time.
All in real time.
It's a mental workout,
It is.
but it's the best way to develop natural fluency.
And so important to actually seek out opportunities for these conversations.
Yes. Be proactive.
Whether it's with friends who are native speakers
Language exchange partners online.
or even local conversation groups.
Put yourself out there.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to talk to people.
And a key takeaway was that you don't have to understand every single word.
That's a big one.
It's okay to ask for clarification. Repeat things to make sure you understand.
It's a collaboration.
It's a collaboration.
They're working together to communicate.
And real conversations also expose you to the more informal side of English.
The fun stuff.
The fun stuff, yeah.
Idioms, phrasal verbs, slang.
Things you won't necessarily find in textbooks.
The stuff that makes you sound like a native speaker.
Exactly.
And listening becomes even more crucial in these situations.
How so?
You're not just listening to the words.
Right.
You're paying attention to the speaker's tone of voice,
Uh-huh.
their body language.
Your facial expressions.
It's all part of the message.
So it's like a whole body experience.
It's full immersion.
And even practicing in low-stakes situations can help.
Like what?
Ordering food,
Mm-hmm.
asking for directions.
Those are great examples.
It helps you get comfortable using English spontaneously.
And the feedback you get is so valuable.
Yeah, you learn from every interaction.
It's a constant learning process.
Okay, so we're actively listening.
We're having conversations.
Now let's talk about pronunciation.
Yes. The nitty-gritty.
It can seem like a lot of details,
It can.
but it really does make a difference.
Oh, it's crucial.
And how well you're understood.
And how natural you sound.
And the sources emphasized that it's not about having a perfect accent.
No, accents are beautiful.
They are.
They're part of what makes us unique.
It's about being clear.
Making sure your speech is easy to understand.
That's what makes communication effective.
And there are certain sounds in English
Yeah.
that can be tricky for learners.
Especially if those sounds don't exist in their native language.
Like the theus sound, or the different ways to pronounce the R.
It's a tongue twister.
It can be.
So the advice was to really focus on those sounds.
Practice them specifically.
And not just individual sounds,
Right.
but also rhythm and intonation.
The music of the language.
The music
The way native speakers stress certain words.
and the rise and fall of their voice.
It's like a dance.
It is like a dance.
And mimicking those patterns can really help your pronunciation.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's like you're absorbing the rhythm naturally.
And remember those tongue twisters we all learned as kids?
Oh, yeah.
They can actually be helpful for adults, too.
They can.
Things like, she sells seashells by the seashore.
That's a classic.
Or Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers.
It's a mouthful.
It is a mouthful.
But it gets your tongue working.
It does.
It improves your articulation.
Of course, there are tons of online resources,
YouTube channels, apps, websites.
all dedicated to pronunciation.
It's amazing.
And another important thing that came up was word stress.
Ah.
Like how emphasizing the right syllable can change the meaning of a word.
It can make a big difference.
Like photograph versus photograph.
Two completely different words.
It's a subtle thing.
But it's important.
And like with everything else,
Mhm.
consistent practice is key.
Practice makes progress.
Okay, so we've talked about listening, speaking, pronunciation.
We're building a well-rounded skill set.
Now let's talk about something that can really accelerate your learning.
Ooh, I'm intrigued.
Immersion.
Ah, yes.
And the great thing is you don't have to move to an English-speaking country to do it.
No, you can create your own immersion environment.
Right at home.
In your own space.
That's so cool.
It is.
So the sources talked about some really practical ways to do this.
Like what?
Well, something as simple as changing the language settings on your phone.
Your computer, your social media.
Yeah, all your devices.
Surround yourself with English.
Make it your default.
And it starts to seep in.
It does.
You're exposed to it all the time.
And intentionally choosing English entertainment.
Like movies and TV shows.
Yeah.
Start with subtitles in your own language if you need to.
Uh-huh.
And then gradually try watching without them.
It's a fun way to learn.
And it really helps you absorb the language naturally.
They're reading in English.
Books, articles, blogs.
Anything that interests you?
It doesn't have to be boring.
It shouldn't be boring.
Find things you enjoy reading.
And pay attention to new vocabulary.
Write down new words.
Yeah, and try to figure out what they mean from the context.
Use your detective skills.
I love that.
It's like a puzzle.
And the ultimate goal is to start thinking in English.
Yes.
Not translating in your head.
Let go of that crutch.
And even just talking to yourself in English can help.
Talk to the plants.
Talk to the pets.
Narrate your cooking.
It all contributes to that feeling of immersion.
You're creating your own English bubble.
Okay, so we've covered a lot,
We have.
but there's one more really important aspect we need to talk about.
What's that?
Cultural context.
Yes.
It's about so much more than just the words themselves.
It's about understanding the people behind the language.
Right.
Their customs, their values, their humor.
And the sources really emphasized how vital this is for effective communication.
It's the key to unlocking true fluency.
Like idioms, for example.
Those colorful expressions.
Like break the ice.
Or hit the nail on the head.
They add so much flavor to the language.
But you need to understand the cultural context.
To really get them.
Otherwise, they can sound nonsensical.
And the sources also talked about slang, which can vary so much from region to region.
What's cool in one place.
Might be totally out of date somewhere else.
Or even offensive.
So it's important to be aware of those nuances.
And to be respectful of different cultures.
And cultural context can even influence nonverbal communication.
Like body language.
Tone of voice.
Even eye contact.
Yeah.
What's considered polite in one culture.
Might be rude in another.
So it's important to do your research.
Learn about the customs of the people you're interacting with.
And be sensitive to their norms.
It all comes back to respect.
And understanding.
Understanding.
Empathy.
So we've looked at all these different facets of learning English.
It's a lot to take in.
It is.
But don't get overwhelmed.
Right.
Remember the most important thing.
What's that?
Consistency trumps perfection.
That's so reassuring. Because it means we don't have to be perfect.
No one is perfect.
We just have to keep going.
Keep practicing.
Keep learning.
Keep making mistakes.
And learning from them.
It's a journey.
A marathon, not a sprint.
Exactly.
So set realistic goals.
Small steps.
Make English part of your daily routine.
Even just 10 or 15 minutes a day.
It all adds up.
Little by little.
And remember,
Mm-hmm.
mistakes are okay.
They're more than okay.
They're opportunities to learn.
Embrace them.
Don't be afraid of them.
They're your friends.
Okay, so let's talk about grammar.
The dreaded grammar.
It can seem intimidating.
It can.
But the sources had some really good advice.
Like what?
Focus on practical grammar.
The stuff you'll actually use.
Stuff you'll use in real life.
Not the obscure rules.
Don't get bogged down in the technicalities.
They're basics.
Verb tenses, prepositions, articles, sentence structure.
The building blocks.
And learn by seeing how these things are used in real English.
In the wild.
In the wild.
Read articles.
Listen to podcasts.
Watch movies.
Pay attention to how native speakers use grammar.
It's all around you.
And then practice using those structures yourself.
Speak, write, experiment.
And prioritize the grammar that's relevant to your goals.
If you need English for work.
Focus on the grammar that's used in your field.
If you're traveling.
Learn the grammar you'll need to get around.
Tailor it to your needs.
And remember, perfect grammar isn't the goal.
Nope.
Clear communication is...
Express yourself confidently.
Even if you make a few mistakes.
It's more important to be understood.
Okay, now, let's talk about expanding your vocabulary.
One
of the most fun parts of learning a language.
It is.
And the sources emphasize the importance of learning new words in context.
Not just memorizing lists.
Right.
Because when you see a word in a sentence or hear it in a conversation, your brain automatically tries to figure out what it means.
From the surrounding words.
From the situation.
It's like a puzzle.
And it's a much more effective way to learn.
So write down new words.
With the sentence or context, so you can remember how it's used.
And group words by themes.
Like food, travel, work.
It helps you make connections.
It creates a mental map.
And learn synonyms and antonyms.
It gives you more flexibility.
It makes your language more nuanced.
And don't just focus on the dictionary definition.
Right.
Think about the connotations.
The feelings associated with the word.
The subtle shades of meaning.
Because words can evoke emotions.
They can paint pictures.
They can tell stories.
So choose your words carefully.
Okay, now I want to talk about a technique that I found really interesting.
Okay, I'm curious.
Shadowing.
Ah, yes.
It's basically mimicking a native speaker in real time.
It's like you're their shadow.
Exactly.
You choose a short audio clip.
Like a news report or a podcast segment.
And you repeat what you hear.
At the same time.
Matching their tone, pace, pronunciation.
You're trying to sound exactly like them.
It's a great way to improve your pronunciation.
And your listening skills.
Because you're really paying attention to the details.
The pauses, the emphasis, the intonation.
It helps you pick up on the nuances.
And it can help you with those tricky sounds.
Like reduced vowel.
Like saying gonna instead of going to.
Exactly.
So it helps you sound more natural.
Less robotic.
Start with short, easy clips.
Gradually increase the difficulty.
And record yourself.
Compare it to the original.
See how you're doing.
It's a great way to track your progress.
And of course, we can't forget about reading.
Ah, yes.
It's such a fundamental skill.
And a great way to improve your English.
It exposes you to new vocabulary.
Different writing styles.
Complex sentence structures.
All in context.
So choose things you're interested in reading.
Make it enjoyable.
Start with simpler texts.
And gradually work your way up.
And practice reading for meaning.
Try to figure out what words mean from the context.
Don't always reach for the dictionary right away.
Use your brain.
Make reading a regular habit.
Even just a few minutes each day.
It all makes a difference.
It's an investment in your future.
And finally, we need to talk about technology.
Ah, yeah.
It's such a powerful tool for language learning.
It's revolutionized the way we learn.
There are so many amazing resources available now.
Apps, websites, platforms.
You can take structured lessons.
Practice with native speakers.
Get feedback on your pronunciation.
And it's all at your fingertips.
Use language learning apps.
Like Duolingo, Babbel, Memrise.
They make learning fun and engaging.
And they can help you stay motivated.
Try language exchange platforms.
Like HelloTalk or Tandem.
Connect with people from all over the world.
Practice speaking and writing.
Explore YouTube.
There's a wealth of content there.
Grammar lessons, pronunciation tips, cultural insights.
It's all free.
Use pronunciation feedback apps.
Like ELSA Speak or Speechling.
Get real-time correction.
Improve your accent.
Listen to podcasts and audiobooks.
Practice listening passively.
While you're doing other things.
Multitasking at its finest.
And engage with online communities.
Find support and motivation.
Connect with other learners.
Share your experiences.
The key is to use technology consistently.
Make it part of your daily routine.
Integrate it into your life.
And have fun with it.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, it's clear that learning English is a journey.
A lifelong adventure.
It takes time.
And effort.
And the right strategies.
But it's so rewarding.
And opens up so many doors.
It connects you to the world.
So remember.
What's that?
Every little effort counts.
Every step you take
brings you closer to your goal.
Don't give up.
Embrace the resources available to you.
And enjoy the process.
Make English a part of your life.
Have fun with it.
And always remember, fluency isn't about perfection.
It's about communication.
It's about confidence.
It's about connecting with others.
So keep practicing.
Keep learning.
And keep exploring the beautiful world of English.
It's waiting for you.
It is.
So go out there and conquer it.
You've got this.
We believe in you.
You can do it.
So what are you waiting for?
Get out there and start speaking English today.
The world is your oyster.
It is.
And English is your key.
So go unlock it.